Hello, my name is Michael Garrick, and this is the Popping Culture Podcast. My guest today is Shelly Belly, a very funny comedian. You can catch her uh, on TikTok and in North Carolina, South Carolina, and soon to be globally telling jokes. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Oh, thank you. What an introduction. Wow.
Yes,
I feel special.
oh, definitely. I'm special to have you. Thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, my pleasure.
Um, I like to ask comedians when they first come on. A lot of people like to focus on bombing, but I'm more focused on succeeding. So, when was the first time you killed, and how did it feel?
Uh, I was actually allowed an opportunity on my birthday last year to spotlight. And I would think that's when I really felt that I grabbed the audience and just I had a great night that night. I felt great about it. I feel like I was made to do this,
Okay,
and so really I would say my birthday spotlight was when I felt, because I actually had people from my social media come out and I felt like, wow, this is something special. But the first time I ever stepped on stage was probably uh, the most special because it was like I found my calling in life.
nice, nice, nice. Um, has anything ever compared to that?
No, I don't think anything compares to your first time. It's kind of like sex. Your first time, your first time, because you get that rush every single time. That you before you get on stage and you think, do I have my set together? How's the audience going to be? Is it So it's really I haven't had that awe moment yet where I'm in front of 200 people. That's my dream in front, in an auditorium in front of, a lot of people. So I think that's going to be my awe moment because right now I'm still relatively new in the game and I'm learning from people such as yourself and Brandon Rainwater and Jazz Gill, so many wonderful comedians in the upstate I'm learning from. So, I haven't had that awe moment yet.
Okay, well, you're definitely on your way. You're like very
Oh,
much on your way. Um,
thank you.
no problem. We said that we were going to discuss stand up comedy. Do you have a few comedians that you like look up to?
Oh wow, I'm old school. I'm 52 years old, so
What?
yeah, I'm like one of the older comedians in the group, and I'm so blessed that even though I'm older, I am so welcome with all age groups, and I just love that. I would say one of my favorite comedians today is Kevin Hart.
Okay, me too.
I, yeah, I'm a storyteller myself, and I try to tell things that are relatable. And I find a lot of things that Kevin Hart does. I mean, he is one of the masters of storytelling that can has the most flawless transition, and you can really learn a lot from him. uh, I mean, just to watch him, not you, but people in general,
Oh, me
comics in
too.
general. Yeah, just his transition is wonderful. But if you want to talk about just funny people in general, Carol Burnett was one of the funniest women I think there ever was that could do a flawless skit. And I just loved Carol Burnett. And I mean, it's so hard because there's so many great comedians out there right now, and that I study. I mean, I study you,
Oh, thank you.
and how you do comedy, and your transitions and your bump moments are wonderful. And
No,
so I don't there's a lot of big comedians that I look up to, but there's a lot of local comedians that I look up to.
no. Oh, thank you so much for your compliments. The one thing I like about you, it seemed like you're just yourself on when you're on stage. It seemed like you're not doing a character; you're just yourself. Do you feel like that helps or hurts?
I think it helps because, just like in life, when you get up on that stage, either they're going to like you for who you are or they're not. And there's no in between. When I get up on stage, like I said, I tell things that are relatable that people don't want to talk about. You've heard my wax set, and women talk about it kind of like whisper it to each other, but they really never really talk about what happens. So I do a lot of research, and it may or may not have happened to me. I'm not going to say, but I do my research and I just turn it into a story that people can relate to. And the men find it funny too. I've had people say, aren't you worried about only women, you know, getting your comedy? And I'm like, no, not at all, because you can say the word fart and men lose it. Just the word fart, men just lose their mind. So I throw the word fart in my skits.
Yeah, that's
um,
true.
but I'm just myself, and I have always been, quirky and nutty. And, the first time I ever looked at my husband, which was only in June, I looked at my husband and I said, I want to go try open mic night at a comedy club. And he's like, what? I said, yeah. He's like, you're not funny. Because I cannot tell a joke if you made me
Okay.
for nothing. I cannot tell like, little Johnny jokes. I would ruin it and it
Okay,
would
I
take
got
me.
you.
Yeah, I can't do it. So that's what my husband's first thought was, is I was going to tell little Johnny jokes. And the first night I ever went to the Comedy Zone and performed, and we were on our way home, he's like, who is that? That is not my wife. Oh my gosh. And I was like, it's always been in here, but I've always been a mom and a wife and worked hard. And, I started doing the TikToks, and people's like, you ought to do stand up. And I was like, challenge accepted. And
Nice.
it's took off from there, from
Nice.
day one.
So you did the social media before you did stand up?
Yes. Would you like to hear my story about how that happened?
If you'd like to share it, definitely.
So I'm one of those kind of people that when someone says, I can't do something, it is like the best thing ever, because it's like challenge accepted. And so my son was in the Marines, and he came home and he was showing me a video he did. And I was like, oh, that's pretty neat. How do what is that? And he goes, there's TikTok. And I was like, oh, that's pretty neat. So I downloaded it, wanted to check it out. Well, when he came back home, I was like, so thrilled. I was like, look, I've got 200 comments. Keep in mind, not followers, comments.
Yes, ma'am.
And my son's like, Mom, that's nothing. And I was like, oh, it's like that, is it? Okay. So I was like, I'm going to show him. So next time he came home, I had like 10,000 followers. The next
Wow.
time he came home, I had 200,000 followers. So now I'm at right at a 500,000 followers.
Congratulations. Wow.
Thank you. Don't challenge moms,
Apparently, apparently, I bet he's quiet now. Like,
Yeah, he shuts his mouth now. I told him, I was like, yeah, eat this. Yeah.
nice, nice. Well, that's great. Uh, how has the social media side helped with you being on stage?
Um, besides people saying you want to do stand-up comedy at the beginning, and just my fans just kind of giving me support and always commenting on my videos. What I do on social media is nothing that I do on stage. I have a lot of characters that I do. I've got Donna and Larry and Betty, and so I don't ever use those on stage. Um, I have tried it and it did not go over so well.
Okay.
so, so, but but my comedy on social media is relatable.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
I just do the comedy on stage without the characters. The audience and myself are the characters.
Nice, nice. Well, it's definitely worked for you. Like I said, you're one of the
Yeah.
funniest comedians I know. And I mean
Oh,
that.
thank you.
Oh yeah, no
Thank you
problem.
so
No
much.
problem. The truth is,
It's That's the scariest thing for me on stage is, I have always hated to be judged. I was one of those kids that was picked on in school and bullied in school because I was very poor growing up and I didn't have much. And I always hated to be judged. So every time I get on stage, I'm like, oh, all of these awesome comedians, do they think I'm funny? Do they think do I hold up to their standards? So you saying that is the biggest compliment ever from coming from you. Thank you.
Oh, no problem, no problem. Like I said, you remember when you got the encore?
I'm so embarrassed.
Yeah,
I was like, I looked at my husband, I was like, oh my God, what do I do? And he's like, and I'm like, I don't want to insult anybody. I've never done that. What do I do? But I think that lady was drunk. Maybe that's what it was.
but you deserved it though. You had a killer set that night, and you deserved it. When they called for the encore, all the other comedians was like, "We know this ain't for us." I was like, "This ain't us. We
Oh,
all."
y'all kill it too. Just to be in the same room with such great comedians is such an honor.
Thank you so
It
much.
is.
Um, if you don't mind me asking, where did the name come from?
So my obviously my real name is Michelle, and my dad, um, anytime my dad was a truck driver, and he was a practical joker. He was the Johnny joke kind of guy, the
Okay.
dad joke kind of guy. And so he would always, be like, "Hey, Shelly Belly." And my kids actually call me Shelly Belly sometimes when they're joking around. Hey, Shelly Belly. And so that's where it came from. And I've always thought it was a quirky, funny kind of name. And people that I don't even know have said, "Oh, hey, Shelly Belly," just I guess to make a rhyme. So that's kind of where it came from. And it's just funny sounding.
Nice, nice, nice. It's definitely working for you. That's good. Um,
It's a name that you can't forget.
exactly, exactly. I've been told this. Of course, I'm not a woman, so I don't know for sure. But do you feel like it's tougher for women in comedy?
You know what? I'll tell you, I look at, I've been trying to get some gigs at comedy clubs, and mainly what you see on the roster are men. Rarely do you see, you may see one every once in a while on a roster for comedy clubs. So, do I find it that either you're funny or either you're not? But I hope that for women, I'm trying to make that breakthrough. I mean, look at Jazz Gill. She is absolutely hilarious, and she really is getting her name out there. And I I hope that my age isn't a factor. I mean, as far as a woman, I think I can break through that because I'm pretty overbearing. And if somebody says no, that's like, okay, so you mean really I can be there and perform at your club? And so I hope that the age isn't a determining factor because people hear 52 years old, they go, you
That's not
know,
really too old though. Considering now, that's not too old. That's not old. Like,
well, you have comedians like James Gregory. He is I mean, he is hilarious. One of the best clean comics, and I would say that's one of my biggest problems is I've got to clean my comedy up a little bit.
me too.
That's
Me
some
too.
that's something I'm working on, and it's hard because when you stumble over and you don't know what you're saying, you say a cuss word to kind of go past to the. I got to learn to do better. So I've
I,
been watching a lot of James Gregory.
I think Dave Chappelle said it best because like me too. I'm working on being clean, but he was telling a story about some uh apparently up north a couple years ago. The club owners only wanted clean comedy, and the
Right.
comedians had to come to the club owners and be like, not everybody can be clean. He was like, one older comedian Dave was talking about said, I don't have insect infestation. I have fucking roaches. So I always keep that in the back of my mind that like I do want to be clean. I understand it comes with more booking, but I also
Right.
know how I talk.
Right, right. And you've got comments like Leanne Morgan, who's a clean comic. And I watch her and I think she is so funny. and she's Southern, I'm Southern, and so I'm like, but Leanne Morgan does her clean thing about her family and stuff. I want to be that kind of naughty Southern, I guess you could say redneck chick, that people go, oh Lord, she's definitely from the South.
Yeah.
So
But
sometimes I don't mind cussing. I like it.
okay. Well, yeah, that's definitely a niche that I believe you can get into. Well, I believe you can get in any room, honestly. Uh, when it
Thank
comes,
you.
oh, no problem. When it comes to COVID affecting comedy, did you end up doing a lot of Zoom shows?
I have never done a Zoom show. Um, I wouldn't know where to start on doing that. So, it. I came in during COVID.
Okay, okay. Oh
Yeah,
wow,
I
you
was
did
never.
great then.
Yeah, I'm not. I wasn't pre-COVID.
Okay,
So when I came in June and started performing, people already wearing the mask and being, so I don't know what it's like in the comedy scene with it being wide open. So right now, I guess like all of us, we're just kind of taking what we can get, and we just want to hold a microphone and make people laugh. And so I can't wait for the clubs to open back up so I can really, get my feet to the ground and see what's really out there.
nice, nice. Yeah, I've only done one Zoom show, and it was it was very weird. I wouldn't say to do it. I would say wait till everything's open up. This was not even like this is normal. We're having a conversation. If I was trying to tell jokes, it's kind of take a long time to hear you laugh. Like,
No,
and
no, but this is my second podcast,
okay, well,
which was this is new for me. I've done a podcast with well, I don't want to say the name of it on your show, but
oh no,
um,
it's
it's
fine. You can.
it's called the Breakthrough Show,
Okay,
and so I've done a podcast with them, and it was pretty neat. It hasn't aired yet, but it was a pretty neat kind of thing.
okay. I'll
It's
make
it's a good way to communicate where you're not going to get COVID, definitely.
exactly, exactly, exactly. I'll make sure to check that out when that comes out. That's good to hear. Thank you for letting me be your second podcast.
Oh, my pleasure. I love it. I really enjoy it. As you can tell, I talk a lot.
I, I haven't I haven't met too many comedians that don't talk a lot, so that's
We
not
have a
bad.
lot to say.
Apparently, we want to be heard. I know that.
Absolutely. We have a lot to say about nothing.
Yes,
Am I
exactly.
right?
Yeah, you're right. You're 100% right. Um, when it came to go back to social media a little bit, when it came to that, were you surprised how quickly you gained followers?
Yes. I I still, people say, "Oh, you're famous and you're the," and I'm like, No. I mean, I just don't I don't people are like, "You don't understand how popular you really are." And I'm like, I just go to work every day and do crazy TikToks, and I love doing comedy, and I don't think anything about that. And when people come out to see me, I'm just like, and they want pictures with me, or they want, I'm like, I have people say, sign my shirt, I'm like, that's strange, but okay. Because I don't feel that way. I'm just like everybody else, that just did something crazy and just people liked it, and I keep doing
Nice, nice. Well, it's definitely working for you. Like I said, uh,
it.
has anybody asked you to sign anything weird, or everything's been pretty PG so far?
Everything's been pretty PG so far. I am married, so if anybody asks me, to sign their appendages, of course I'll probably say, okay, uh, run down the river by Mississippi, or something like that, because that's how long it should be, instead of like Frank, you know.
Mhm.
Do you get that joke?
Yes.
No?
Yeah,
Was it
yeah.
okay?
I got you. I got you.
I totally go off subject on a regular. Can you
No,
tell?
no, it's totally fine. That's fine. It makes it even better. So when it comes to comedy, right before you get on stage, how do you feel?
Oh wow, you know, I've never done drugs or anything like that, or truly, no. Well, I did hit an acid one time, and
Oh,
that was it. And that was all. And well, no, I did smoke smoke before,
it's okay.
and that was it. That's it. And I don't do. I'm too old to do stuff. I mean, hell, I went to see my dentist earlier today, and I tripped up into the office from a little. There's like a little door. It's too dangerous for me. What was okay? So the question: how do I feel? Um, I'm just like, please don't let me bomb. Please just let people laugh. And I have bombed. I
Oh
have
yeah,
bombed.
that's a part of it. You have to bomb if you don't get better.
You know what? And it's something that I've always told my kids growing up. If you don't make mistakes in life, you're never going to be better. And if you don't learn from bombing and you always, oh, it's the audience, or, you know, we see that a lot, don't we?
Yes, so much, so many times you'll hear it and you'll be like, okay, well, that what makes them feel better. Yeah.
Right. It's the audience. No, it was you. I have, my husband videos every single show I do, so I can learn from it. What hit, what didn't, how long did it take them to laugh? I am my own worst critic. And I know there's no such thing as perfection in comedy. There never will be. And if there was perfection, it wouldn't be as funny.
I agree.
Uh, yeah. So sometimes you just have to go up there and you see that something's not hitting. You better have a lot going on up here to think like, what's something I can do in one of my sets that's going to make these people laugh. Um, so that's what I think a lot about before I go on stage is, am I going to bomb? Are they going to laugh? Am I going to be funny enough? I mean, it's a million things go through your head.
Oh yeah, I'm very nervous. Like for the like, it's weird. Like that 30 seconds, like or whatever time it is, for that 10 to 15 or 30 seconds, whatever time for right when they call my name, that's why I'm like, all right, here it comes. Like I'm about
I get
to
real gassy. Do you?
my
Do you
first
get
year,
gassy?
my first
You
year.
do?
Yeah, I was still funny, but the front row would be mad as hell. Uh,
Yeah. I'm always like, oh my God. Oh, what do I always, and I have to pee a lot before I go on stage. It's like, oh my God, you know, because I'm a wreck. I'm a nervous wreck. I shared that on your podcast just now. That's okay.
I'm in the medical field, and I just want you to know, at 52, that's kind of that may be normal. Like,
Oh, Jesus, really? Is that what it is?
yeah,
Mm,
I'm not calling you old or anything. I'm just saying, like, don't think peeing a lot isn't normal.
you know what? I think it is. Being 52, I don't like it. You know what I hate? My biggest regret is not doing this before now. But it wasn't meant for me to do it before now.
Oh yeah, I mean, I have like I said, I have a stepson now, so it's a lot of opportunities where I have to turn down because I have to be in his life. Like I'm not going to get these same memories if I'm always like out doing something. Like I make sure I spend time with him. So I understand being a parent. Like you got to put them first because who's going to take
Hmm.
care of me, not the club. Like
Exactly,
yeah.
exactly. And I am so fortunate. I have four children,
Okay.
and yeah, I'm so fortunate that my children are, and my mother even, and my husband, everybody in my family is so supportive. My husband is there for every single show. You know that. He
Oh yeah.
never misses a show. He's there to sell my merch. He's there to support me. And he's even there to kick me in the butt when I need it. There was a time that I did not do too well at the Comedy Zone and I threw a fit like a 2-year-old child. Nobody knew it but him. And he's like, Michelle, you ought to be ashamed of yourself to be acting like this. Get up off your high horse and by God, be quiet and come back next Thursday and do better. And I was like, really needed that.
Nice. Well,
Yeah.
I know he's a great support system. Like I said, every time I see you on stage, I know he's there. He's recording, like you said. He definitely seems like a very strong backbone, and I'm so happy that you have him. Has he always been that supportive?
yes,
Nice.
anything I've ever wanted to do, which I don't want to do anything crazy. I pretty much have a boring life outside of comedy. But anything I've ever wanted to do, he has been supportive of me. Anything he's wanted to do, I've been supportive of him. And I think that's the most important thing about a great marriage is as you get older, you go through your tiffs when you're younger, but as you're older, you just kind of realize to heck with the small stuff. We really need each other and we're all we got. We
Yep.
have to support each other. Because when it comes down to it, younger kids don't think about when you hit 52. Because when I was in my 20s, I was like, swinging around a stripper pole. And no, I'm only kidding. You never know how to take me, do you?
No, it's fine. No, I'm thinking about in the longevity, like your grandkids are like, Grandma said.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah. If you have the body, work it,
yeah.
throw that wop. I'm just kidding. But anyways, so yeah, when you're younger, you don't think about the long haul, in a marriage. But when you get to that haul of the long, you just kind of just got to support each other. Now we don't support each other in every single thing. He loves motorcycles and loves to spend money on motorcycles, and I was like, stop! I need another car. Stop! But besides that, hey,
Nice. Does he ever give you jokes or like say, "Hey, you should say this on stage"? Okay. Okay. All right.
he'll say, you should say this instead of this. And I'm like, okay, because my husband has you know
Hmm?
he is a very intimidating human being,
You think so?
and well, a lot of people think when they first meet him, they think he's like not approachable.
Oh, okay, I
You know,
got
yeah, he's not approachable. He's not this, hey man, what's going on? He's just like,
you. Yeah,
and so you get what I'm
I
saying.
understand.
So so when he tells me, oh, I've got, what about this joke, and I'm just like, your sense of humor is not like my sense of humor. He likes the dry humor.
Okay.
And I'm like, no, I like the crazier, the better, like Robin Williams, kind of like, and Kevin off the wall, kind of like, I love how you can tell a joke and be so straight faced, and people are just dying. And I'm in the back watching you, just like, he's not even laughing. I would be like, if I told a joke or if I did, I would be rolling. I couldn't hold a straight face. I don't know how you do it.
Oh, thank you. I just try to treat it like work sometimes. Not like I love what I do. Like I'm laughing on the inside,
Mm,
but at the same time, it's like, I work 12 hours a day. Sometimes I really, I'm really
I
tired.
feel you.
Yeah.
And people don't realize how much, that comedy doesn't pay the bills.
Not yet. No.
It's definitely a passion. I've taken gigs and didn't get paid anything just so I
Mhm.
can have a microphone in my hand. And we were at open mic night in Greenville all the time. Um, so it doesn't pay the bills. So here we are. I go to work a 10-hour shift, come home at 5:30, have to get myself ready, look presentable. I've written comedy going down the road on 85 and went to the Comedy Zone and used it, and it was a hit, you know. And it's a lot of work. And then you had to sit there, like, what was it, last week? There were so many comedians there,
Mhm.
great comedians, might I add. And my husband, I'm like, I'm gonna have to go up earlier because my husband has to be at work at 5:30. And people don't see that behind the scenes of the hustle and bustle, the grind to get to that microphone and then try to be funny and then go home, go to bed, and get up and do it in the morning.
Exactly. I wanted, if you don't mind, could you please tell the audience or anybody listening or watching, can you just explain to them the feeling of writing a joke, believing that it's funny, telling the joke and learning that it is not?
Yes. So uh, I did a joke about Thanksgiving. And sometimes I do try out my comedy on TikTok, just like in a different way to see how it hits. And it hit really good on TikTok. So I was like, oh, this is going to be great. I'm going to do it on stage. So I did this joke about people coming over for Thanksgiving, and this certain person in your family always brings a different man, every Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
And so this guy thought he was the shit. And so I asked him if he worked at the wastewater treatment plant. And it was like, inside of me, it was going, yes, yes, yes. And then it said, boom. I was like, move on, just keep going.
Yeah. Yes.
And it's so hard because it's like you panic and you go, oh, can I recover from this?
It's like you feel the energy in the room and you have to go with it. You're just like, all right, this was it was funny to me. Uh,
But I can't do like some comedians do. They'll get up on stage and some of them will say, uh, some of them will say, yeah, this is what open mic's for. We won't do that again. I'm like, I can't admit it. I just have to go. We all knew it. We all know what just happened.
yeah,
Let's just move on.
exactly, exactly.
I don't
Next,
want to acknowledge it.
yeah, it's like next song, next joke.
Yeah, exactly.
When it comes to social media and stand-up comedy, do you believe one will trump the other, or do you think both of them will stay pretty much forever?
Um, Stand-up comedy has been here forever and ever and ever. I don't think stand-up comedy will ever go anywhere. The pandemic has really hurt the industry more than, we never saw this coming. Um, and I believe when we're able to take these masks off and move on, I believe the comedy clubs are the first thing people are going to hit. Because people want to laugh. And that's one thing that I get all the time on my social media is this is like, being at a comedy show. There's so many people that go through depression, anxiety, death in their family, and they look at my TikToks and they go, you have helped me in more ways than you could ever possibly imagine. So I think right now with TikTok and with Instagram and Facebook, I think so many people are closed into their house right now. That is their vice. But I think once we get past the pandemic, I think a lot of that's going to slow down and the real thing going to comedy shows is going to pick up. I
Nice,
feel like I came in at the perfect time.
nice, nice. I agree. I agree. Like for if you were say like time has reset itself, like yeah, I think this is perfect for you.
Mm,
Um,
yeah.
when it comes to the pop culture aspect of stand-up comedy, uh, who do you think like for women, like who do you think you had the biggest influence on stand-up comedy when it comes to female comedians?
Mm, that's really a good question. And, I don't, like I said, I don't really watch a lot of female comedians.
Okay,
Like I said, I do like Lori Morgan, um, just because I like to study her comedy. She is absolutely hilarious and has a lot of tells a lot about her family, like I was saying earlier. So I like her. Um, there's, I think the one thing that I love is to watch the upcoming female comedians.
okay,
um, because there are a lot of female comedians out there, but my comedy is a very high energy comedy. I move a lot. I lay down on the stage, as you know. I'm a crazy nut on stage. Excuse me. And there, a lot of the female comedians that I watch are not that way. And they're kind of like microphone in hand and telling a joke. And again, I'm not a joke teller. And it's hard for me to relate with the younger generation because a lot of like the single people talk about being, what is that thing? Swipe, you swipe, Tinder.
Tinder, yeah.
Yeah. They talk about Tinder, and I'm like, I don't get all of that. So, I admire and I'll say Jazz Gill again. She is a phenomenal comedian, someone that can step on a stage and just capture the audience the minute she walks on. Um, Christina Yossi,
Hmm.
she's a great upcoming comedian. She is wonderful on stage. Now these girls better be giving me some hype next time I see them. You hear me? I mean, for real. I mean, I'm not doing this to get hype, but I mean for real. They better give me some flipping love next time they see me.
Uh,
Jeez.
I
No,
agree. No, no, I agree. I would, I would hope that they do that for you. Yes, yes.
but I truly do mean that. Uh, but I do. If you don't mind, I do want to bring up one thing that I have been that I've heard. That one thing that when I came into the comedy scene from social media, people had already heard of who I was when I came in.
Okay.
Um, and I think one thing that has hurt me from being from social media is I think people say, well, the reason you're moving so fast, the reason you're growing so fast is because of your popularity on social media. I want people to know that I'm doing that because I'm really funny. I'm a comedian, a stand-up comedian. So that's the only negative that I have coming from social media is the talk. You know, Everybody has drama and home comedy clubs.
Yeah, don't worry about those people. Forget those people. They just mad because they ain't got no following. Like,
Well, I was going to just let you say
yeah,
it.
they're just jealous. That's just jealousy. That's stupid. Like, if anything, they you would hope that they would want to work with you. Like, you have a following and they don't. That's one way not to
Right.
get. If it's anybody, not to use you, but if it's anybody's like, let's make sure we're at least associates with. That's talk about talking
Right.
themselves out of an opportunity.
Uh, Right. So, I hope that my following from social media will help me put some behinds in the seat.
Definitely, definitely. You'll sell tickets. I promise. Well, you sell tickets now, but when COVID's over, you'll definitely do well. I promise you that.
Yeah. So, and then once people can see my comedy, there's one comedian, and I don't want to say names, that started off on social media, and he just blew up overnight. Actually, there's two
There's plenty of them now.
comedians, yeah, that just blew up overnight. And you know, I I've had a lot of opportunity coming from social media. Some that I'm under contract that I can't talk about.
Okay.
But an example, I've had a production company called Woex Productions that's called me and wanting me to come to Las Vegas as a social media influencer. They're in talks right now about doing a comedy show at the Flamingo in Las Vegas for me.
Congratulations.
Hope. And so I've got podcast opportunities. I've got so many opportunities from it. So I'm excited, but I love the comedy. And so if anybody out there is listening, hey, and I know you are, and you're looking for a good older female comedian that does have some clean comedy, but not all, I'm your gal.
Just comedian in general, guys. So you should definitely check her out. Old or young, she will definitely kill the show. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Is there anything you'd like to say to your fans?
I am so humbled because I was picked by my fans, by their comments, by their following of me. And I just want to say thank you. And from the bottom of my heart, that it has taken me places that I never imagined that I would be. And I'm living my dream of being able to just make people smile. And what other dream could be better than that?
Nice, nice. For the people that don't follow you, can you tell them where they can follow you on social media?
Absolutely. I have a website. It's called shellybellycomedy.com. You can go to that website and you can see where all my social media is. If you want to follow me on TikTok, it's shellybellycomedy.com, Instagram, Facebook. That's all you need to put in is Shelly Belly Comedy and you'll find me.
Nice, nice. Uh, Thank you again, Miss Shelley, for coming on to the podcast. And you guys have an amazing day.
Thank you.